Sherlock Holmes is one of the most famous fictional characters, but long before we had Robert Downey Jr.'s version and, of course, Benedict Cumberbatch's, you had people in the 30s like Arthur Wontner giving their portrayal of the character. And today I'm going to be talking about one of his movies of Sherlock Holmes, that of The Triumph of Sherlock Holmes. And this one is a big one for him because it has Professor Moriarty in it. And for those who only watch the Sherlock series would be like, Professor? Yes. In most versions of the story, he's a math professor. And that's why a lot of people won't believe Sherlock when he says, okay, Moriarty's a bad guy. Like, he's clearly in the criminal world, and no one would believe him because he's just a math professor. But anyways, the point is, this one has the math professor Moriarty in it. So we follow in the story as Sherlock Holmes has retired. But he is questioning his retirement because it seems like Moriarty is up to something. And one day, he gets a visit from Moriarty who threatens, like, you better retire. You better stay retired. And then later on, he gets a letter from no address saying, with this random address in it. And Sherlock's like, okay, there's going to be something happening, like a murder happening there. Only that the cops have the police detective come in. And he's like, hey, during your retirement? And he's like, yeah, you might want to go check out this place. And he's like, how do you know about that? Someone just got murdered there. And that's where the story gets started. Now he's investigating this guy's murder. Only to have it all going down twists and turns. And I won't spoil anything about it because I think it's really worth watching. But basically, this guy is murdered. But as you go along the story, you figure out more about this man. And you figure out why he was probably murdered. And you figure out that he was involved in a gang. And he was, not the greatest guy. And I don't know how to explain without spoiling it, but basically the story that the wife is telling might not be true. There might be more to the story they're not saying. Sherlock Holmes is there's a lot of things little details that not lining up for Sherlock, classic Sherlock type things. And you figure out what the real plot's going on by the end of the movie, and you figure out how Moriarty's involved in it. And it's a really fascinating, interesting movie. It's only an hour and 15 minutes long, so it's not that long of a movie, but it's solid what it is. The negative sides I would say with this movie is, just like I talked about in my video on Sherlock Holmes, The Sign of Four, the quality's not the greatest. And there are some scenes where it's really dark and you can't tell what's going on until they say, oh, this is what's happening. Like, oh, okay, thanks. But you couldn't really tell. The audio quality is not incredible too, but I feel like, as I said in that video before, it's because we're spoiled nowadays. Technology and filmmaking has gone so far that we're watching these older movies and oh, look how terrible this is. No, it's still pretty good. At least they had some creativity, and at least they had some form of passion in some of their works that we don't have nowadays. That's not always the case, but the fact of the matter is there's a lot of high quality nowadays with terrible storytelling. Back then, there was some good storytelling, even if the quality wasn't the greatest. So overall, I would say this movie is a pretty solid movie. It's a pretty solid adaptation of Sherlock Holmes. They do a pretty good job with him. We get spoiled nowadays with our quality, but that's really the only thing I can say about this movie that could be a negative side at all. I would recommend checking out this movie if you are a fan of Sherlock or older mystery movies, because it's pretty good. And the twist at the end, where everyone... To be honest, it's not it's really incredible, but it's a pretty solid twist at the end to end us out. So I would recommend, if you want to check it out. I will leave in the description for this video also the link where you can get this whole set, about $20 for 50 movies. I will also leave in this description where you can just watch this one movie by itself. But for the most part, I would say check out this movie. It's pretty solid if you have time. It's only an hour, an hour and 15 minutes long, and it's a pretty good adaptation of Sherlock. So if you're a fan of Sherlock and you want to watch an older version of Sherlock, watch it. You just have to get used to the fact that you're not going to be looking at 2020's technology. You're going to be looking at what they had in the 30s for technology with filmmaking. So yes, anyways, if you guys like this video and you want to see more videos like it, consider subscribing. Thank you guys for watching. This has been the Movie Night Reviewer, Peter Wary, signing off.